Hey everyone, it's Ms. DeFazio. I just wanted to go over a couple of problems from your order of operations Google form yesterday. A lot of people had questions on this, and I figured I was starting to type out emails and comments on the assignment for you to read, but I figured it's probably easier for me to do out some examples rather than trying to explain it with words. So the ones that I noticed people struggled with the most that I'll focus on now is number 3 and number 5. So number 3 here has kind of a lot of parentheses, and then the same thing with number 5. Number 5 definitely is the one I'm going to go over both, but this was definitely the one that had the most questions. So I'm going to switch over to my document camera. Before we start doing examples, I'm just going to go over some of the important points that we have to remember with all of these order of operations questions. So up at the top, this is our order of operations. So it's PEMDAS, PEMDAS. And really quick, just as a reminder, we have P is our parentheses. So that means our first step is to always go towards the parentheses. And I'm going to put in parentheses, in our parentheses, when there's more than one number. One number. Because sometimes parentheses are just used as like separating a number from other operations and stuff. So it's when these parentheses, there's 3 numbers inside with some operations, that's when you're going to look there. Our E is exponents. We have no exponents here. They're the little numbers that are raised up, so we won't really worry too much about that. MD is multiplication and division. And division, and you're moving from left to right. So you're not always doing multiplication first. You're not always doing division after multiplication. You're reading it like a book, kind of from left to right. And then addition and subtraction. And that's the same thing as above, from left to right. So again, you could do subtraction before addition if subtraction comes first, moving from left to right. All right, so for each problem, I'm going to write out, I'll try to P, E, M, D, A, S. And the reason I have M, D, and A, S kind of written side by side is because when it's written all down, some people might think multiplication comes before addition. But if it's written like this, it's moving from left to right. So hopefully that kind of helps a little bit. All right. I'm going to do my best to color code, but there's going to be a lot of numbers here. So our first step is looking at parentheses. I see a couple sets of parentheses here. So again, what we want to look for is the parentheses that you actually have to do something inside. So my eyes are going to come here. Here are my parentheses. If we look inside the parentheses, I'm going to look for like the order of operations again. And this -8 is in parentheses, but it's just to kind of group this -8 together. So I don't have to do an operation to this. It's just -8. So I'm now looking at this part here as like a first step. And I'm going to now look within that for my order of operations. I have subtraction and I have addition. Remember, subtraction and addition, you're moving from left to right. So because they're both on the same line, I'm going to do my subtraction first, which is this. It's your 6 minus -8. Remember, you can rewrite subtraction as addition by adding the opposite. So 6 minus -8 is the same thing as saying 6 plus 8, and 6 plus 8 is 14. And I'm going to copy everything else. Plus 10, I haven't done anything with that, and multiplying by 3. So notice, as I'm showing my work, I'm copying down all this stuff I haven't even touched yet. I'm still copying this down because it's still important and I still need to do it. And I'm going to show us what our work is going to look like at the very end. Next thing is we did parentheses, but we're not done with parentheses because I still have parentheses here with something to do inside of it. So now my eyes are getting drawn here. 14 plus 10. I know that 14 plus 10 is 24, and then I carry down my times 3. Notice that I'm done with parentheses. There's no more parentheses, so I'm going to cross that out. We already decided there's no exponents. Multiplication and division is the only thing left, which is kind of nice. You only have one more thing to do. If you don't know this off the top of your head, you can use a calculator or you can do it on the side. So my final answer is 72. The reason I did this out for you, 1, so you can see it again. 2, notice I didn't put my work right here. I want to keep this part as neat as I can, and I'll do all my side work, on the side. So my final answer is 72. And notice, I did this before. It kind of makes a little triangle here. My Dorito, my pizza slice, but it's because all I'm getting rid of is I'm solving one thing and writing everything down, solving one thing and writing everything down, solving one thing and writing everything down, because that's how you keep your work organized. We move on to the next one was number 6 that we were going to look at. So the last one in this, again, kind of a lot of parentheses, but I'm just going to rewrite my PEMDAS on the side to kind of keep track. All right, so first thing I'm looking for is P for parentheses, and I see a lot. Here's my first set of parentheses. I know my eyes are going here originally. Again, there's another thing inside parentheses, but it's just a -5. You have nothing to do with those parentheses. So you're starting here. I have subtraction and I have addition. So moving from left to right, just like we did over here, moving from left to right, this is the first problem you're going to solve. You have 5 minus -5. And again, just like we did over here, 5 minus -5 is the same as 5 plus 5. So 5 minus -5 is 10.